Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Lorelei Shamayo. This is the MeWe Metaphysics and Wellness Fairs for energizing body, mind, heart, and soul. We have events throughout the Northwest, and we have lots of events online. We interview our practitioners and vendors so you get a chance to know who they are before you meet them at an event. I'm here today interviewing Glenda Benevides. It's great to be with you.
Nice to be with you too. Thank you.
So tell us about your work. What do you do? What do you offer at our events?
Well, this is going to be my first time, so I'm really excited about sharing what I'm up to with you guys. You guys are amazing. I have a group called Global Badass Goddess, and I basically support women in their clarity, their courage, their confidence, their commitment, and their community. So it's really allowing and sharing with women how to actually step forward into your own full self-expression and what that is. And sometimes our foundational parts of ourselves we're not taking care of. So it's so easy to not take care of you. So easy. So anyway, we help you discover that. How do I take care of myself? Like, what is my soul care? What is that? What does that mean? And then design that the way you need to have your own self-expression. So that's one is called Own the Goddess Within. And our second course is called Own the Room. And that's mainly for women that, or anyone actually, that wants to really step into like speaking, performing. They want to be a more effective performer. It's like, could be a singer, could be a songwriter, someone that just really wants to get up in front of somebody and then really just have them get who they are and what they're about, and in a real authentic way. So that's kind of what we do in a nutshell. I have several workshops. I have a book out. It's called Courage. You can buy that on Amazon, and it talks all about that. It kind of gives you a step-by-step access to that for yourself. And how I define badass. I'm going to just jump in on that.
That's
one.
great. Sure.
To me, badass, I mean, a lot of times people go badass and they're like, I'm not a bad, like we have this impression of like what badass means. Well, I say, let's redefine it. And you can redefine it for you too. So for me, badass means beautiful, accessible for A, D for daring, A for abundant, S for savvy, and S for sassy, sorry. You could put sexy in there. I think I was my head. So I was like, oh man. But whatever you want. So that's kind of how I define it. Just really being conscious, self-express, empowered, and courageous. So.
Oh, that's great. I was thinking about other people that are actually on the stage, and would this be a good fit for them too? People that are coaches that are leading classes, or facilitators that lead meetings, or practitioners that are doing group readings and things like that. Anyone on the stage?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because it's really a dynamic between you and who your client is, or how you're presenting yourself. Everything from, what do I look like? Is that really reflecting who I am? Because you can tell people like right away if you're like a tarot reader, and you can see the type of tarot reader they are, just by their presence or what they say to you or how they interact. And I really believe that self-expression is a unique thing. So it's not, I'm extroverted, so I'm self-expressed. No, that's not true. An introvert can be very self-expressed, and they need to do that in their own way. And they need to speak gently, or they need to speak with intent, or they need to speak how they need to speak. And we kind of like look for that. Like, how do we dig that out, right? Because I think a lot of times we go, I'm not an extrovert. I'm not, I can't get out there and just start, really telling people who I am, It's like, no, I totally get it. So we help you find you.
Can you give me a little, just maybe like samples, ideas of like, what are some of the journeys that's been for people?
Yeah. Well, let's go back to foundations. So in the foundation area, we talk about not bound, I don't want to say boundaries like this and stop, but more like you're creating this space where people get to know who you are. So inside of that, you have to know what you want. You have to know who you are from that place. So for example, I had a woman that came to me and she was like, well, I said, well, what do you want? What do you don't want? And so how I call that is what's negotiable and what's non-negotiable. And she said, oh, that's interesting. I never thought about that. And I said, okay, well, let's do this together. Line down your paper. On the left side, put what you want. On the right side, put what you don't want. Negotiable, non-negotiable. That's what I call it. And so she wrote all those things down in relationship. She calls me back a week later and says, oh my God, it completely worked. She said, I went on this date and she said, I sat there and the guy was just clicking off all the things that she did not want. And what she came away from that evening out, she said, thank you very much. She had a really good time. And then she left and that was it. She came back to me and said, oh my God, Glenda, she said, this is how it would have went for me. She said, I would have had that date. I probably would have had another date with him. Then I would have slept with him. And then I would have moved in with him. And then we would have broke up.
Yeah.
And she said, because now I know the things that are non-negotiable for me, she said, that was none, no, thank you. And I was like, I was so, so happy for her because she really wanted to be in relationship, like a love relationship.
Yeah,
So
somehow making it negotiable and non-negotiable kind of pulls it down from the like high standard, kind of stress people out. Like I have to be really clear and like,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's it's a really powerful, I should say, empowered place to stand in for us women. Because if you come into any situation where it's your business or your relationship or your kids or whatever it is, if you know what those things are, you have a parameter to play in, and then what you don't want to play with. And that's really an empowering place because then you're not thrown off, you're not stressed out, you're not caught off back foot, you're not angry, you're not frightened. I mean, I've been in all those places and it's way easier to just be able to say, well, thank you, but no, thank you. Or to be able to say, like, you come to work and you go, yeah, I really need a raise. How am I going to do that? Or there's this audience that I'm going to be up in front of 200 people. What am I going to do? How do I keep it all together? Well, I have these wonderful negotiable, non-negotiables. And I also have one of the things that we do is my Declaration of Independence. Everyone creates their own. And so inside of that, then we just go, oh, okay, well, I'm going to prepare for this. I'm going to prepare for that. I'm going to be really calm in here. And yeah, I'm going to be a little frightened, but I got this. And I'm going to own the room. So yeah, that's just a little bit of what we do.
Well, how did this evolve for you? How did you get started doing this?
For me, it's been a long journey as an entertainer, a singer and a songwriter. It's been many, many years of on the mat, just doing it, finding out who I am, working through the issues, doing all kinds of mistakes, and then coming through with, wow, I really got this going on and I'm having a great time, and I feel really freed up and really self-expressed and really clear about who I am and what I'm saying. And then people are just excited and they're lit up themselves, how I started the Global Badass Goddess movement was really around a good friend of mine was in my kitchen. Actually, there were two of them in there. And the one gal turns to me and she said, you're a real badass. And I was like, and the first thing I wanted to say was, oh, no, I'm not bad. Like I wanted to just shy away from, I don't want to accept that compliment, which I know all of us women have that on some level. And I just stopped myself and I said, you know what? You just need to own this. And I said, oh, thank you. very much. I really appreciate that. What does that mean for you?" And then they shared who I was for them and how inspiring it was. So I from that moment on, I went, you know, I need to just own that. So I did. So I'm owning it, right? And as I'm going along, I'm like, I need to share some skill sets that I have with others. Because people kept coming to me and going, how do you do that? How do you get on stage? How do you talk to people? How do you like make that seem so easy? And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I started to break it down, and have a wonderful 2-day workshop for Own the Goddess Within, and then Own the Room. So and I do one-on-ones. So yeah, I
Mm.
always select people, but yeah.
So you're one-on-one kind of like individual coaching with people, consulting
Yes.
with people of like how they personally can implement that in their lives and how to find that place in them even more deeply. Is that?
Exactly. And then after at each month, what we do is I'll take on X amount of people. I won't take on very many, but at each month, at the end of the month, what we do is then we get in front of the stage, we get in front of the camera, we get in front of each other, and then we present something that we're extremely afraid of,
Mhm.
and then have breakthroughs. It's pretty amazing actually to watch people just blossom.
Again, if it's not giving too much away, can you share a little bit of like what you mean by something we're extremely afraid of? Like, what is that?
Yeah. Let me just I gotta think back.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we're afraid of what people think of us. And the illusion is that no one's thinking anything of you. They're not even thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. So everybody is thinking, what are you thinking about me? Nothing. So I help people just really let that go. Just let it go and really stand. If you are standing in your right alignment, if you're standing in your own clarity and empowerment, that shines out. We give yourself a platform to let it come out. And once that happens, even if you're afraid, you go, oh, what do they think? And I go, let it go. Just let it go. Because what happens is once you do that, let's say you come to a performance, or you come to a group of people you're going to be speaking or something. And you go, oh my God, what if, you start down a path. Well, that path of what if will make you freeze. And then you will self-fulfill prophecies.
Right.
And you may fall, and what I do is I help them to be able to quickly tap in to your inner essence, your inner core, and then activate that. And then boom, you're fine. Everything else goes away. It just moves out of the way.
Mhm.
It's like connecting with your higher spirit, your higher self. So, and it really locks in. It locks in to the point where, because I noticed even for myself, when I'm entertaining, great example, I'm in Scotland and I'm going to be performing for 2,500 people, and I'm backstage and I'm waiting to be introduced to go on. And I'm standing there, and I wanted to go down this path of like,
Mm.
oh my God, I hope I remember the song. Oh, like I caught it as I was walking down the hallway. I go, seriously, you're going to do this. You're going to do this to yourself. And I was like, no. And I immediately clicked in and just set in my own center, basically. And as I did that, then I walked out on stage and it was like, boom, locked in.
Yeah.
So there's little tricks and tips that I do, but there's tricks and tips for you, anybody out there. It's just finding that and knowing that and being calm and gentle with yourself from a place of real love and self-expression, and being able to just allow that to show up, you know.
Oh, that's great. Well, if people want to learn more, where do they go?
They can go to globalbadassgoddess.com, and you can see all the classes there, and you can read all about what I believe in and what we're committed to, and just see if it's for you. We can also do a free 20-minute conversation with me. The link is on there. You can see that it's not a problem. And we can just kind of talk through some things and see if what's right for you and what your goals are, because I think that's the key, not what I want, it's what you want. So yes, you can just go there, and my workshop's on there, and yeah.
Very exciting. This is great.
Yeah.
And so I guess at our events, you're going to be sharing about this work, and then probably also, probably you'll be teaching some of the different tips and things like that as samples for people. Is that
Yeah.
maybe some
Yeah.
individual coaching? Mhm.
I'll dig some up for you guys. Yeah.
Great.
And the next event will be for us is going to be Own the Room. It's on this Wednesday. We're actually having a meetup around that. So if anybody wants to get on Global Badass Goddess Meetup, you just get on Meetup and look for that. I'm the only one. And then you can join us on this Wednesday, which is going to be, I think,
That's what we're here in the beginning of October. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's
6th.
okay, yeah, the 6th, that like Pacific time, 6 o'clock. It's only an hour, and then I can share that with you too, and step into that. So,
Great, great. Well, it's been lovely chatting with you. Very exciting, and I'm happy to connect and learn more.
great.
Share
Thank
with
you so much.
everyone.
I really appreciate it. Thank you for your work.
Oh, you're very welcome. And those of you watching and listening, you can connect with all of our events at mewefairs.com. That's MEWEFAIRS.com. Thanks so much, Glenda.
Thanks.